So boom, we got little Boosie sitting down with Cam Capone News, and you see the video title, but he asked him about Eminem being the GOAT. Let me give you some context as far as the question that's missing from the clip. He tells him that Dr. Umar said that Eminem can't be the GOAT of hip hop because he's Dwight. Now, he asked Boosie if he thinks that Eminem could be the GOAT or if, Dr. Umar is right in that sense. Boosie says, like there's some indigestion going on and stuff like that. And then he gets into this.
Where I'm from, we don't listen to Eminem. I'm from the trenches. I never heard nobody come in my project playing Eminem. I'm gonna keep it real. When I hear him, I say he can rap. I always say that. Every time I hear Slim Shady, I used to like that song Slim Shady, but where I'm from, I've never heard one song in my project. I never heard Eminem not one time in the speakers in my project. I gotta be honest. None of my friends never said put Eminem on. Play that new Eminem. I only saw it on MTV, TV.
It's funny, and I'm gonna break a few things down, but it's funny that he asked him could he be the GOAT, and what did he go to? He went to not just locally. What's going on locally where he's at. He went to a small subsector of Baton Rouge, which is the projects he's from, his projects. So the world exists within his projects when it comes to rap to him. That's crazy to make the point that since I never heard Eminem in the projects that I'm from, in the trenches, he can't be the GOAT because nobody plays him in the trenches. Now, I just got one disclaimer to give. I didn't give it at the top of the video. I should have. I'm not a big Eminem fan. I'm not a big fan of any of these rappers. Honestly, they've all let me down at some point. So I don't really even anticipate their music all like that. I like a lot of rappers, but as far as super fans or anything like that, I'm very unbiased. If you did something good and I think it's good, then it's good. If you did something bad and I think that it's bad, I don't think just because you did something and you is like for example a Drake that I'm just gonna praise it every time that you do it. I'm not a super fan stan or none of that. So let's just get that out the way. And even then, when it comes to Eminem, I myself don't play more Eminem than Superman, which if you talk to a lot of niggas, they like Superman, and it's a few other tracks. But let's get back to the main point. Now, my question is, I got a couple things just off that. The first thing I'll say is, guess where they play him? Everywhere but your neighborhood. Oh, we'll just get that out the way. But the first thing, not kind of joking because, the Detroit rappers, the city that he's from, they vehemently spew that same talking point all the time that we don't play Eminem in the hood. Let me just get that out the way very quickly. I am in my 30s and stuff like that. When I was very young in middle school, Slim Shady dropped. I'm in an all-black city. I ain't gonna say the state. I'm in the Midwest. But with that, the kids in my age bracket, we loved Eminem. When it was the early 2000s, black people loved and praised Eminem as a rapper. This is facts. In the hood, all that stuff. I was outside. We was here. We seen it going on. I'm talking about older dude, everybody. At some point around the Eminem show and stuff like that, it was like, yeah, we kind of over it, because it was shock value when he first came out, but we kind of over it. Once he retired and took that hiatus, it was just like, nah, we don't fuck with him. That's what the narrative became. It's like all of the early 2000s never happened. Like all the stuff like the toy stores, like everything that was going on, it just never happened. So during that time frame, again, middle school, high school is what I was in. Eminem didn't make music that really went into parties and stuff like that. But amongst the guys, you know, people listened to Eminem, they would listen to the album, and we were listening for the bars and things of that nature. But when it comes to lifestyle music and stuff like that, as far as what, some people will put in the car, what people got in their headphones, what people is playing to at the basketball court, or whatever is going, what people put in the stereo when they got friends over, I keep it a band. Eminem wasn't the one, but he had fans in the hood. People listened to him, and we talked about the music, and we watched the singles and all of that stuff. And granted, he even makes some people's playlists. So let's just get that out the way. But there's a more important issue with what Boosie said. So we'll just get that out the way. Like, as far as like the trenches done, like when we talk about the people that the hood loves and stuff like that, it's usually not the lyrical rappers in the first place, unless you're from New York. But also, it's the street rappers, and that's how come street rappers have taken over the game, and the music has to go in a car. So you're never going to see somebody pulling up to Eminem because we want some stuff to bang, we want some stuff to sound cool when we, bend in corners and stuff like that in a car. Eminem music don't have that feel. When we party, we want some music that the chicks can shake their butts to, twerk, and that the dudes can, go fuck the club up, fuck the club, niggas get rowdy to and all that stuff. That's what we want. Eminem's music doesn't fit that bill, so of course, culturally, he's not there. But I made my point. Now, the one thing that I want to look at is him mentioning that. It's very funny to me because it's like, okay, so he didn't get played in your projects. That's what qualifies a GOAT to you. They have to get played in your neighborhood. That's what qualifies a GOAT. Now, when you look at that, that could be a valid point. You could agree with that point. I think there is some validity to it. Because again, we, the people, niggas, we're the culture. We are the culture. So with that being said, and we live in it and all of that stuff, we breathe it, it's us. So with that being said, I could understand how that could factor into it. But, when you look at it, you look at somebody like Jay-Z. Jay-Z fits the bill for, oh man, he was getting played in the trenches, all that stuff when Eminem wasn't and all this, all that stuff. We, as far as the majority of America, have, and I could get into that another day, but most people look at Jay like he's the GOAT. And if you don't think he's the GOAT, you think he's at least somewhat worthy of being in the top rappers, whatever it is, like top 15 or something. You think he's worthy of that. Some people absolutely think not, and they would put Busta Rhymes or Fat Joe above him and things of that nature because people, yeah. So, with that being said, Boosie, when the Money Phone stuff happened on 444, Boosie didn't like that. He didn't agree with it. And he was on some, we don't listen to Jay-Z in the South. We don't listen to like all this stuff. He might have even mentioned Future, said Future the biggest thing, all this stuff. So when you listen to Boosie, you begin to understand, like, from that, the Jay-Z stuff and the Eminem stuff, these are two people that, one is the top selling rapper of all time. And then the other one, he's a highly top selling rapper, but he marks every box when it comes to what you would like out of a rapper for the most part, or what a rapper should have, what a top rapper should have. He marks every single box. But you don't consider either one of these people the GOATs or GOAT level or anything. What is the criteria that Boosie has? That's what I'm curious about. We'll probably never get it. But that leads me to another point. And that point is when it comes to the South, and when it comes to, I'm going to break down the rappers, and it comes to a certain category of rapper, there is no standard. The only standard is that we feel the music. That's it. So I'm gonna give you my, and I may do this in another video more in depth, my perspective as far as how I classify rappers. You have three categories. You have the far left, which is a conscious rapper. Think Common, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Black Thought from the Roots. I usually say vegetarian rapper, but respectfully conscious rapper. And a lot of them are vegetarians, just being 100,000. But as far as the far right, you have, I need a better name for it, but I call it the swag rappers and stuff like that, or you could say the trendy, you could say whatever you want. Like I may have to figure out a better terminology for it, but the far right, you have the Gucci Manes, the Young Dolphs, the Playboy Cardis, and people of that nature who, when as soon as they say something, you can understand it is very straightforward. Their music hits hard, and most people love it. You then have the middle, which is rappers who are a blend of both. So somebody like a J. Cole can get on the records with the people on the right and do stuff to appeal to people on the left. Same with the Drake, same with the Kendrick. That's why they are pretty much the holy trinity of mainstream rap right now. So that's what it is. Jay-Z is a perfect example of that because he can make club records. He used to make club records. He used to have a club in the streets going crazy, giving cats bangers and stuff like that. But on the conscious end, he could really rap. He may not be a conscious rapper, but he can give you songs like Meet the Parents. He can give you a bunch of substance and things of that nature. So he really fits the bill when it comes to that. The people on the far right are usually the hit makers and stuff like that. The people on the far left, usually they may catch some hits, but they're not what the radio is playing all the time and stuff like that. So I say all that to say, to give you the classifications and stuff like that, to say as far as Boosie, he's absolutely far right. As far as how I classify rappers, he's far right, and he does have substance. Don't take that away. I do believe Boosie has substance, So he might not be far right. He might be closer to the middle, but he's still right. And with that being said, a lot of rappers from the South, this is the other thing. Most of the top rappers from the South fit either, kind of right or far right, as far as the way that I laid it out. And when you have that coming out of the South, you do have Lil Waynes, you do have Scarfaces, you do have a lot of people who play the middle or can do the far right stuff and really go deep on the left as far as, the conscious stuff. So you do have a lot of those in the South. Andre 3000, Big Boy, et cetera, Killer Mike, et cetera. So that's not to say the South is just dumbed down or anything like that. But, they make a lot of hits out of Atlanta, out of Texas, out of Florida and stuff like that. And a lot of the rappers fall in that category, like Applies and people of that nature. So with that, as far as Boosie and that being what he likes and what he does, I would really be interested in seeing Boosie say what not only makes a top rapper or a GOAT as far as a rapper, but what just makes a good rapper in his eyes. What does he judge a rapper based off of? Now, like I said, I would love to hear him articulate it, but from me watching so much Boosie content over the years since he got out of jail, a little bit before he went to jail, this is what I think it is, how real you are. And by real, it doesn't mean you being authentic is who you are. No, because who gives a fuck about who you are as a rapper? We don't give a fuck if you are a guy that works at FedEx and you go home and love your kids and you want to rap and you going to rap about your actual life and cleaning the gutter out at the top of your crib. No, that's boring. That's boring. Nobody cares about authenticity from boring niggas. No. When I say real, I mean you have to be a gangster. You have to be a gangster rapper, and you have to live up to the gangster character in your raps. You have to be not only congruent, but you have to, like, the more, and look, he didn't say this, but this is just when I look at the real stuff. You gotta not snitch. You gotta be solid. If you sit down, that's how come he loved BG so much. He did some crime. He did some crime. He sat down. He didn't tell on nobody, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, his whole friendship with T.I. almost broke because T.I. said he snitched on dead, and you know he can't. Boosie don't like no type of snitching and stuff like that. So it's stuff like that. It might be, you know, when it comes to just realness. This is not him. When I'm saying this, this is not Boosie's opinion, but just when it comes to how people in general determine realness, you know, do a cat got them bodies. Let's keep it, we got to keep it 500,000. When Boosie, not Boosie, but when Gucci Mane came out with So Icy, where I'm at in the Midwest, it was okay. No, it wasn't no major hit. Jeezy took off. Everybody was messing with Jeezy. Somewhere in the 07-08 pocket, Gucci went on this mixtape run, and the young cats, they was coming and they was telling me, and I was young at the time too, but I'm talking about people who was younger than me. But they was coming and they was saying, man, Gucci hard, Gucci hard. I was listening to the music. I was not feeling it at the time. And I was like, bro, what is it? And don't get it twisted. Gucci had Go Ahead and all that stuff before that, and it was going at the parties up here and in the club up here. But as far as his mixtapes, I wasn't feeling it. Guess what they was telling me, man? Gucci caught a body and, you know, either sat down or beat the body, whatever it was, you know. So that validated him in their eyes, and that's what made him hard, and that's what made them want to listen to it, because not because he's an authentic guy as far as, man, he goes to a 9 to 5 and rap. No, it's because he did some violent shit. He did the shit that everybody loves to hear, this action-packed killer rapper shit. And he stood on business, as niggas say. And when he raps about it, there's an authenticity to it because he's authentically this killer. Just keeping it 500,000. So with that, you know, again, that's not Boosie saying that. And you know Boosie sat down and did his stint and et cetera, et cetera. But I've seen people in the hood from the trenches say that. So with that, just if we look at what real is to a lot of people, I would think the Boosie's category, like what it would be, is you got to be real. And the realer you are, the better you are. That's why he loves BG so much. And when you look at somebody like Jay-Z, you know, Jay-Z, he stabbed somebody back. They don't listen to him down there, you know, and Jay-Z doesn't make music for the South. So that probably takes off some of, you know, what you call it, some of his appeal down there and stuff like that. But when it comes to him, his realness being proven or anything like that, he hasn't done a jail stint. You know, it's not widely known that he has a body or anything. So it's like, you know, he's not validated in that sense, I guess, to someone like Boosie, to where he looks at him. And even then, look at him now. He doing the Basquiat, he wine tasting, he got the... So people look at him different now, and that's just what it is. So with all that being said, it's like he don't relate to him, and the realness isn't top tier realness when we talk about somebody like a Gucci or a BG, you know, based on what I just said. So with that being said, I could keep going, but I'm just going to end it here because the video is getting kind of long. Let me know your thoughts. I would love for him to flesh that out in the future. I don't know if Cam Capone or anybody that interviews him is going to see this, but that's a question that I feel should be asked. Boosie, what do you think makes a good rapper, just a good rapper? But then on top of just a good rapper, what do you think, what category, like what criteria do you have when it comes to judging a GOAT? Because clearly, getting played in the South and getting played in the projects is top tier. It knocks Jay-Z and Eminem out of the discussion for him. So who's getting played in those projects and who's the GOAT to him? That's what I want to know. Let me know your thoughts about it.